Joining me now, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who sits on the House Budget, Armed Services, and Judiciary Committees, and Alan Orr, Vice President of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Congressman, your Democratic colleagues on the House Judiciary Committee just sent a letter to the President tonight announcing an immediate investigation about this executive action he announced today. And they're initiating a resolution in the House to nullify the national emergency. Has the President gone too far?
He has, and I hope the Democrats on the Judiciary Committee will look at the facts of what's going on the border. I think there are 3 national emergencies happening. The first is humanitarian. Just in the month of December, 20,000 children were smuggled across the border. That is a terrible humanitarian crisis. There's also a crime epidemic. ICE had to go and arrest 30,000 sex predators who had come across the border illegally and then committed sex crimes against our citizens. And then, of course, there's a drug crisis. We just seized enough fentanyl on the border to kill 115 million Americans. That's more than a third of the country. So if drugs coming into the country that could kill a third of the country is not a national emergency, like, how much does it have to be? Does it have to be something that'll kill 200 million Americans, 300 million, all of us? I mean, to me, it's a real emergency, and it's probably 3 of them.
I want to play you both Nancy Pelosi's reaction to this emergency declaration. Watch.
The President is doing an end run about Congress, about the power of the purse. You've heard me say over and over again, Article 1. The legislative branch, the power of the purse, the power to declare war, many other powers listed in the Constitution, and, of course, the responsibility to have oversight. So the President is doing an end run around that.
Alan Orr, you believe the President lacks the standing, the legal standing, to declare a national emergency.
Absolutely.
Why do you believe that? Many
Absolutely.
of his predecessors have done it.
Absolutely. It's not about what the predecessors have done. It's about what this president is doing. And it's different than what the predecessors have done, because in all of the cases before, the predecessors did not reallocate money from Congress for emergencies that just don't exist. So when we talk about all of these numbers and increases at the border in crime, then it really isn't consistent with the evidence and the receipts that we have from Senator Nelson, which says that family and children are presenting themselves for asylum, which is a legal form of entry to this country, which a wall does not prevent. And when we claim that we're having a drug problem, when we actually caught that big drug bus coming into the country at a port of entry, then that's not really a problem. It seems like it's working, and a wall really isn't going to solve that problem either. So when we start looking for addressing issues, we should look for overspending and then taking money away from our military forces to address problems that don't exist.
Congressman Gaetz, I want your reaction. Yeah. Does the president lack legal standing here, even though Obama, Ford, Carter, everybody's declared national emergencies?
Well, I'm an Article 1 guy, but the Congress did authorize and appropriate funds to stop critical drug trafficking corridors. One of the Title 10 authorities under Section 284 that the president's going to use is precisely the type of money that we would intend for this purpose. Also, the military construction money is precisely intended to aid in the protection of the country. This is an entirely appropriate use for those funds. But, like, to say that because we found enough fentanyl to kill 115 million Americans, everything's fine, that's like saying because Chicago is the murder capital of the United States and we catch a bunch of people committing murder, that we shouldn't worry about murder there anymore.
Absolutely not saying that at all.
It's somewhat of a fallacy.
I'm not saying that at all. And actually, he declared the emergency under the War Act, not under the Drug Act. It was actually 10 U.S.C. 6021, which was about war. And so, therefore, it's a little bit different than what you're claiming it to be.
But
and
those
therefore,
are for the military construction dollars.
the point of the matter is that if you look at Cato on the left and you look at institutions like the American Immigration Council on the right, they all agree that the problems that you claim exist do not exist with receipts and studies, and not just saying this is how they feel about it. This is the research that was done.
So you are claiming there is no national emergency or crisis at the border at all?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Saying that, what do you mean by there's an emergency, there's a crisis? It means that we should be addressing the people who are applying for asylum in the lawful manner.
No,
so therefore, what I'm saying is there's no legal emergency that requires an $8 trillion wall. That is what I'm saying to you.
Congressman, I'm going to let you react to that. I mean, is there a crisis at the border, and how would you characterize it? Congressman Gaetz.
One, it's an $8 billion wall, not an $8 trillion wall. 2, Senator Nelson is no longer in the Senate. He was beat by Rick Scott. And 3, the fact that you've got all these people that are using our porous border to bring crime into the country, these stats are real. There were 30,000 people that ICE had to go and detain who committed sex crimes. You think about how many more thousands of victims that were impacted by that. And the point is, these are entirely preventable crimes. There's a lot of crime that goes on in our country that we can't prevent. But if we have a physical barrier at the border where the cartels and traffickers can't bring people here illegally, we can 100% stop those crimes.
Okay,
that's
gentlemen,
a fallacy
I'm going to leave
of causation that just doesn't present itself to be true, because we know the people who've been deported come back into the country via airport or via boat.
Well, that's because there's no
we're going
wall.
to get into all of this, gentlemen. We're going to have to leave it there. A wonderful debate. We'll have more time for it. Now